Good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started just with some nice big breaths in and out. You're welcome to keep the arms down and just do some nice belly breathing. So this is just getting our body warmed up, which I got to say, when it's warm outside, it's a lot easier to warm up your body too. It's tougher when it's cold out. All right, bring the arms in. We're just going to open and close. So just start to kind of wake up the chest and the shoulders and the back. Four, three, two, and one. And we're going to take our arms down and we're going to reach back, and then we're going to breathe up, reach back and breathe up. So it's just kind of a swing. And we want to try, on this one, it's really tempting to kind of arch our backs or to just bring the arms up and flip our arms back. And I want you to try to keep them straight. So all that movement is coming from your shoulders. Good, two. And one, bring it down. We're going to reach across the body, little rotation. So still waking up the arms, but really starting to stretch out your back. Good, four, three, two. Now we're going to keep the side tap, and we're going to add in little side bends. So washing the windows. So just good, reach side to side. Here's four, three, two, one. Bring it into the center, shoulders down, arms out to the side. And we're just going to do shoulder circles. Again, thumbs pointing to the ceiling, palms pointing forwards, trying to move from your shoulders, change direction. So this is me moving from my elbows, arms straight, move from the shoulders. Two, one, bring it down in the center, hips stay stationary as we start to add a nice good reach. Lengthen the space between your ribs and your hips. So it's just a nice good side bend. Good, four, three, two, one. Bring it into the center, toes pointing forwards, feet about hip width apart. And we're just going to do our hip circles here. Go ahead and change direction. And we're going to take the toes and turn them out a little bit. So we're going to kind of duck foot. And again, nice good hip circles. And kind of be aware, I noticed that I was doing a little bit more of a circle on one side than the other. Good, change direction. So now I'm really trying to make sure that I'm focusing on a sort of more even, non-lopsided circle or oval. Good, bring it in. We're going to turn those toes in a little bit, so somewhat pigeon-toed. And then same thing, nice good hip circles. We're trying to keep our knees pretty straight here, so circles come from the hips. Good, and change direction. And this is the one where I definitely feel a little bit tight on my side. All right, let's bring it into the center. Shake it out a little bit. We're going to start with our swings. Hold on to something if you need to. We're just going to reach forward and back. And this is a good balance challenge, but at the same time, I want you to be able to focus on your swing, so holding on is not a weakness. Good, and here's two. And one, bring it in, switch it over to the other side, so same thing. And you can start with small swings, especially when you start to go to the front. We're getting a little bit more of a hamstring stretch here. And then when you're ready, you can start to make it a little bit bigger as you start to loosen up a little bit. Good, and here's four, three, two, and 1. All right, we're gonna do our side leg lifts. I really like to hold on for this one because my range of motion is so much bigger. We're gonna stiffen up that knee, lift and cross. And again, this is one, if you can make it bigger, great. You are gonna get a little bit of rotation of your hip over your standing leg. But you choose what's gonna work for you. We really wanna just try to loosen up those hips. This is really good for runners and cyclists. Here's 2 and 1. Bring it in. We're going to shake it out, switch it over to the other side. So nice, good foot position. Hand on a wall. We're going to lift and we're going to cross a little bit. And then if you can, again, we're going to make it bigger range of motion, a little bit more turning, a little bit more twisting. But again, this is your pelvis. We're not twisting and rotating from our spine. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it in, shake it out. I just kicked the ledge of my window. Let's take our legs nice and wide. We're going to do our double side lunges. So we're going to take it 2 to the right and then 2 to the left. So it is a little bit of a bounce, but really what I want you to think about is I want you to think deep, relax, deep, relax. So you're kind of getting just, it's more like when you're trying to stretch something out. If anybody's ever done any sewing, or you've had a shirt where maybe it's just a little bit tight and you want to just kind of stretch out those fibers or stretch out that elastic just a little bit. Good. So a little bit over and then over. Good. Here's 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Bring it into the center. Straighten your knees. We're going to do a little hamstring stretch. So we're going to do forward, middle, and back. So forward, middle, and back. I can touch the floor today. You do not have to do a floor touch. You are more than welcome to just do a good reach. But it's forward, between the feet, and then reach for something behind you. So we're trying to get that just little bit of extra reaching back. I don't want rounded spines here, okay? I don't feel this in my hamstrings at all because I'm rounding my spine and I'm softening my knees. So this one, we're trying to keep it straight. Good, one more right here. Carefully bring yourself all the way up. Standing position, arms out to the side. We're going to do side lunge, torso rotation, reaching over for the opposite foot. You can also do a reach for the opposite knee. Good. So it's just a little rotation as you reach towards the foot. Really think about your opposite shoulder reaching up and opening towards the ceiling. Good, couple more. Just 2 and 1. And we're going to take it down to a plank position. So hands down, you can walk it out. I'm stepping back just for space. We're going to do a down dog to a plank. Good, so it's down dog and then back to a plank. Down dog and plank. And if you'd like, down dog, reach your hand towards your opposite knee or your opposite ankle. It's a little bit more where you've got to stabilize that shoulder. Good, reach, bring it in, reach, and bring it in. Good, one more. And we're going to carefully walk ourselves back up to a standing position. Give yourself a moment. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down into your back pocket. Grab a drink. I gotta say, at least for me today, it's not super hot, but it's muggy. So everything just kind of heads cooler, but it's got that wet, kind of that wet feeling, and that's almost worse than it being warm some days. All right, we're gonna start with neck and shoulder drills. If you need to sit for a little while, this is a good opportunity to do so. But we're just going to think about shoulders down and back into your back pocket. So when we bring it up and down, we don't want to puff out the chest or arch. It's really just shoulders down and back, nice and tall. And we're just going to start with head tilts side to side. So shoulders are down away from the ears. When we do our head tilts, we want to think about taking our one ear towards our shoulder, but you're also thinking about lifting your other ear up towards the ceiling. So it's not just how far down can we get our ear, but how high can we lift the one that's turned up towards the ceiling. Good. Here's 2. And 1, bring it up. We're going to pull the chin back just a little bit, and we're going to look to one side, and then we're going to look to the other. So it's just a nice, good turn. Again, your body is nice and steady, so we don't want to turn our shoulders. And then we want to make sure the chin tuck is to make sure that we're not sticking our chin out. I want you to pull it back a little bit. A good test is if you look at yourself from the side, you want to try to have your cheekbone about in line with your collarbone or your ear in line with your shoulder. Good. Release, bring it into the center. We're going to do cactus, and we're going to look away, and then we're going to bring the arm across, and again, we're going to look away. So wherever your hand is, you want to be looking in the opposite direction. So shoulder down, cactus, look away from your hand. And now we're going to bring the arm across the body, pat yourself on the shoulder, but again, you're going to look away from your hand. So we're going to open, and then we're going to switch. Good, and then open, and then cross. Good, couple more. So it's just a nice good turn, and then look the other way. We're also waking up the shoulders a bit, and then cactus, and look away. Bring it back in the center, shake it out a little bit, going over to the other side. So shoulder blade down and back in your back pocket, 90 degrees. Look away from your hand. Bring the arm across the body, pat on the shoulder, look away from your hand. So open, and then look away. So I'm going to do about 5. I'm going a little bit slow and steady today. Good. We got one more for me anyway. Bring it in the center, release, a little bit of a shake out. Now we're going to draw smiley faces. So we're going to turn to the right, tuck your chin, and now you're going to trace your collarbone with your chin all the way until you're looking at the floor on the other side. And then you're going to lift your head so you're looking to the wall on the other side, and then you're going to look forwards. So it's a turn, a tuck, a smiley face, so you're tucked on the other side, and then you lift because you're turned to the other side and then back to the middle. So we're trying to look at one wall and then bring it all the way over to look at the other wall before looking forward. So it's turn, tuck with a tilt, smiley face all the way up and over, and center. Turn, tuck, circle, and center. Turn, tuck, circle, center. One more time, each direction. So really think about tracing your collarbone, or I actually think tracing above my collarbone. I'm trying to keep my tuck nice and close to my chest. Good, and bring it in, a little bit of a shake out. We're going to start working with our shoulders, so our shoulder circles. You can do this without a wall, or with a wall is a great way to do this one. Bring it up, thumb pointing up, rotate pinky to come down, circle around, and we're going to come back. So take it out and around. The hard part, I do it too, is I bring it up, and in the back I like to start to turn my shoulder. We want to try not to do the shoulder turn. We're going to open, but we just want to try not to bring our other hip around, and then circle. I like doing this one a lot with my hand on a wall, and especially once you start getting closer to that wall, you can't turn your shoulder, but start, a foot or two away from the wall. and bring it around. And then as you start to feel a little bit looser, can you get closer to the wall? Good. We're going to do a couple more. Good. And last one. Up and around. Bring it into the center. We're going to keep working on that same arm. We're going to do a back scratch. So arm is out. We're going to give ourselves a nice good pat on the back. Then we're going to take it out and we're going to rotate. Back of the hand is going to give ourselves a little back rub. Can you reach towards your opposite shoulder? So we're really trying to get full range of motion of that shoulder. And for some of you, this might be hard to do, or this might be hard to do. Pick what's challenging and do what you're able to. And especially when we start to get to here, I sometimes do it too. We don't want to arch our back just to get our arm up there. It feels like we're getting farther, and we really aren't. We really aren't. So we really want to just use that shoulder, use those muscles. Nice good lift, pat on the back, take it down, shoulder away from the ear, and reach. This is working a little bit of rotator cuff in addition to just basic shoulder mobility. But shoulder and hip mobility are two things that we definitely tend to lose as we age or due to injuries. Good, bring it in. We're going to go for a balance beam stance. Or not balance beam, it's semi-tandem. So just one foot in front of the other. And we're going to push the hip out, and then we're going to reach up towards the ceiling. So the arm that was going up and around, we're going to try to lift the arm up, stretching along the torso. Again, trying to make sure that we're not forward or rotating back. So it's just a nice good push the hip out, reach it up, and then bring it in, shake it out. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, starting with our arm circles. So thumb up, rotate, pinky to go down, and then go in reverse. If you have that wall as an option, I love going against the wall to do this, especially on the way back, because that way I'm not able to cheat it and to compensate. If your circle is smaller, that's all right. That's just letting you know that's how your shoulders are. And this side is feeling a little crunchy today. Not like a bad crunchy, but just I feel a little bit more movement in there, a little bit more of a grindy feel. And I got to remember, I really do think I want to take a band with me on my trip. It's lightweight. I don't think I'm even going to notice it's in there. Good. And we're going to do one more here. So bring it up and around and back around. Little shakeout. Now we're going to do our back scratch. So palm facing forward. We're going to bring it up. Can you give yourself a nice good pat on the back, kind of in between the shoulder blades, and then take it down, and we're going to rotate thumb down, and we're going to bring it across. And can we reach and take it over to our opposite shoulder? So it's just bringing it up and then take it down and around and circle. And this is one of the tests in the functional fitness assessment. Used to be called the senior fitness test. Now they call it the functional fitness test. But it was designed to test mobility and ability to do activities of daily living in older adults. That was the entire purpose. But one of the tests is the back scratch test, which is one arm up, one arm going down, and how close can you get your fingers in the middle, and then checking the difference between the right side and the left side. So bring it up and take it down. Good, and we're going to do one more. So bring it up and then bring it in. We're going to do our side bend. So switching sides, so just a semi-tandem stance. We're going to push that hip out, and we're just going to reach nice and high up towards the ceiling. Shoulder blade is still kind of down and back in your back pocket. We're really focusing on lifting the ribs, dropping the hips. So the space between your hips and your ribs is getting bigger. We should feel a nice good stretch right along here. You might feel this at the top of your pelvis and a little bit around the back side, just from your lats and your QL that are back in there. Good. 3, 2, 1. Bring it in. A little bit of a shakeout. We're going to go into a sumo forward fold, and we're just going to do a forward fold. You can have your hands on a chair. We're just going to take a nice deep breath in, and then just like in yoga, we're going to forward fold. Can we reach down towards the floor? A little bit more rounded spine here is okay. If you'd like, if you don't want your head below your heart today, then you're just going to relax. And putting your hand on something actually helps you relax a little bit more. We're not going to get full relaxation because our hamstrings are trying to hold us up, but you want to try to be able to kind of relax that upper body. You can add a little side to side swing. If you don't want to have your hands on the floor, you're just going to kind of reach like you're trying to take your forearms to the floor. But just a nice good swing, side to side. All right, we're going to walk ourselves up. We're not going to come all the way to standing. We're going to take our hands to our thighs, push the hips back, and we're going to do a cat-cow here. So just push the hips back. We're going to inhale, and then we're going to exhale. Now, if you feel more comfortable doing this sitting in a chair, or even if you feel more comfortable being on hands and knees on the floor, that's all right. I'm trying to make this, at least some of this workout, all standing or all seated. Not a lot of hands and knees if you need. Good. So this is a lot of pelvic tuck. So head stays wherever you put it. So it's not a lot of up and down with the upper body. It's all tucking, a little rounding and arching of your spine. Good. And now we're going to go back to our forward fold again. And we want to try to relax a little. And you can relax your knees a little bit more. But we're going to try to do kind of an open book. So one hand on the floor or on a chair or even on your thigh. We're going to open our book and then we're going to switch. So we're going to open our book and switch. And it's okay if your open book is out to the side. If you're really tight, there's a good chance that's where that's going to be. And it's okay. We just won't want to turn to the side and like stick the arm back there and have our shoulder turned in. I really want you to try to open that shoulder back behind you. The arm just follows along. So this is a thoracic opener. A little bit of hamstring still. We've got 2 more, but if you need to come up early, please do. But after this, we are going to go right down to the floor. So we're going to step it back. We're going to come down to the floor. You can come down to hands and knees. Sit your hips back to your heels. We are going to go down onto our tummies. So I just want to give you an opportunity to grab a drink if you need it. But we're going to be on our tummies for some hamstring curls and some scorpions. If you're standing, you're going to do standing hamstring curls. And then you're going to do against the wall scorpions. So we're going to take it all the way down, chin resting on your hands. I'm taking my legs a little bit wide, and I'm just going to try to just kick myself in the tush. And I'm going a little bit quicker. So this is a little bit of a quicker movement. So just kick and kick. So less focus on muscle strength here. We're just kind of focusing on a little bit of a hamstring curl. We're actually stretching our hamstring, or stretching our quads. So we're bending our knees, stretching the front of our body a little bit. Good. Now I'm going to take it and I'm going to try to kick myself in the backside on the other hip. So right heel is going over to the left side, left heel goes over to the right. We're getting a little bit of external rotation of the hip. Don't let your hip lift off the ground if you can avoid it. Good. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring those legs in a little bit closer together. We're going to take our right arm out to the side into cactus 90-90. Left hand, we're going to have it by our chest, close to our body, and keeping the right shoulder on the floor. We're just going to roll into that shoulder. Now, some of you might want to take your left leg and bend it like we're trying to bring it across our body and put it on the floor. Or you just roll into that shoulder and you can keep both knees on the ground and kind of pull your knees in towards your belly button like you're resting on your side. This is all just going to kind of depend on how tight you are and how you're feeling today. And we just want to keep that right shoulder on the floor and just nice good stretch. 2, 1, release, switch it over to the other side. Left arm is out into cactus. Right hand is right by your chest. You can bend that right leg if you'd like. And we're going to roll into that left side. And again, your chest may not perfectly stay on the ground, but you want to try to keep as much of your elbow all the way to your chest and shoulder on the ground as possible. As long as you're feeling a stretch, that's what we're going for. So we're opening up the front of the body. If you're staying standing today, you can do this against a wall or against a corner, preferably an outside corner or a doorway. Just stretching the chest, shoulders, and biceps. Good, release, back in the center. We're going to do the same thing, but instead of the arm being in 90-90, we're going to take it out straight, palm facing down. And again, we're just going to roll into that chest and shoulder. Again, if you prefer, instead of taking the foot behind you, you can just kind of lie on your side a little bit and then pull those knees in towards your chest. So I like to think knees in line with my belly button if I'm doing this one. And release, switch it over to the other side, arm out straight, rolling into that shoulder. So we don't want to actively push ourselves up off of the floor. That hand that's on the floor is just to kind of help push us up and over. Again, you can just have your hips stacked and just a nice good rest. And bring it back into the center. We're going to take ourselves up into a variation of up dog. So your first option is hands by your chest, shoulders down and away from your ears. Point your toes, and we're going to take a nice deep breath in. So we exhale, we're going to push ourselves up and back. And then we're going to come down again. So it's kind of like a little bit of a push-up. Normally I tell you not to keep your hips on the floor, but this time I want you to try. If this is not comfortable for you, you're going to have your elbows on the floor and your shoulders are going to kind of come up by your ears when you do that. And then you're just going to push back, and I want you to try to lift up into a sphinx. So then we rest and come down, and then we lift. If those are not comfortable for you, just rest your chin on your hands and don't worry about trying to do a nice good lift. If you just rest on your tummy, you're still going to get the hip stretching. You're still going to stretch out the front of the body. It's just a little bit more spine safe if that is a concern for you. Good. We're going to go for one more. Deep breath. Up. Point your toes. Open up those hips. Good. Now we're just going to tuck it under, and we're going to sit our hips back to our heels. Stretch it out. Nice, good child's pose. Reaching the arms out, trying to keep the arms as straight as you can. Again, we're stretching out under the arms where your arms attach to your torso. If you want to add a little wiggle side to side, feel free. And I can definitely tell that we did not do this class last week. And you wouldn't think just one class would make such a difference. But I can definitely tell that last Friday we did not do this. All right, let's thread the needle. Right hand reaches under the left arm, palm facing up, rotating the shoulder towards the floor. Still taking that left arm and reaching out as far as you can. And still trying to keep your hips close to your heels. Good, and switch. So now we're going to take right arm out, left hand reaches under, thread the needle, palm facing up, trying to rotate that shoulder towards the floor. Three, two, one. Bring it back into the center. Just going back to our traditional child's pose. And getting ready, we're going to pull ourselves up and forward, and we're going to lift ourselves up into a down dog. So you can come up onto hands and knees, tuck the toes under, start to straighten the legs, and I really want you to think about lifting your tailbone towards the ceiling, pushing yourself back. I am going to start with straight knees with my heels off the ground. My focus is going to be on stretching the hamstrings a bit. Now I'm going to soften my knees and I'm going to start alternating a heel drop down towards the floor, and my focus is going to be on stretching the calves, but I'm still trying to keep my elbows and my ears close together. So sometimes we start to get our ears away from the elbows. Push yourself away. Top of your head is going to move towards that floor. 2, 1, pull yourself into a good plank position, runner's lunge, right foot to right hand. Carefully drop your knee down towards the floor, and we're just going to do a nice good runner's lunge stretch here. Your goal, we're really focusing on stretching the front of the hip on that back leg, but we're also getting a little hamstrings and inner thigh on the leg that's in front. If you find that you're rounding your spine here, I really want you to think about putting your hands on something to elevate you so you can get to that neutral spine. A lot of times if you've got a couple of yoga blocks, that's enough. 2, 1, lift up, step it back. We're going to switch over to the other side. Same thing. Foot to hand, drop the back knee towards the floor. Nice neutral spine. And just a nice good hold. And if you're really tight, your knee may be closer in. If you're a little more flexible, you might be able to get it a little farther back. Everybody's a little bit different. And now we're going to come for a deep squat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up, and I am just going to step my other foot forwards, wide stance, and now I'm going to think about dropping my hips and elevating my chest. So we want to try not to be here. If this one is really, really a struggle for you, that's okay. Put something underneath your heels, roll up your mat, put a couple dumbbells under there, or you can go ahead and come all the way down onto the floor. But again, we want to try not to round our spine. We want to try to find a position where we can stretch our inner thighs and sit as tall as we can. Again, trying not to round too much, and just do a nice good opener. I know not everybody can do a deep squat. Sometimes it's your knees or your ankles or your hips, so you can just find a way to modify it, because if you can get these joints to loosen up, it's really going to help if you've got pain and discomfort, if you can kind of modify and try to work on these joints especially. And now we're going to all take it all the way down onto our backsides. And we're just going to have a seat, no judgments how you get here. We're going to take our legs for our 90-90s. So hands by the hips, knees bent, feet on the floor, and we're just going to go to the right and then go over to the left. So doing the stretching today and the mobility today, I had a lot of pops, not like, the painful pops and things like that, but just some of the deeper pops where it's like, okay, I definitely can tell that we did not do this class last Friday. I did not stick with that routine. And my joints are now telling me that you can't miss doing your stretching and your mobility anymore. All right, let's take it all the way over to the right. So front leg as close to 90-90 as you can get. Back leg 90-90 if you can. Bend the knee if you need to. But we're just going to do a little push-up. So forward hinge, and then come back up again. So we just want to go a little bit deeper into that hip stretch, and then we come up. So deeper, and come up. Good, one more. All right, whatever leg is in front, we're going to take that opposite shoulder and we're going to reach like we're trying to thread the needle, or we're trying to look a little bit behind us. We're getting a little hip stretch here, sitting as tall as you can. Bring that shoulder over and just do a nice good stretch. Release, bring it up. We're going to take it up and over to the other side. Same thing. As close to 90-90 as you can get. We're just going to go forward for our push-ups and then back up. So forward and up. Goal is to feel a little bit more of a stretch in that outer thigh. I feel this more in my glutes today. Couple more. So hinge and lift and hinge and lift. And now we're going to try to sit nice and tall, and we're going to take our arm or our shoulder and reach it around like we're starting to look behind us. You can add a little glute squeeze if you'd like. It's going to open up that hip a bit. How far you go is up to you. Maybe you're just turning over your knee, turning towards the corner, and that is all right. And release, bring it back into the center. Just find a comfortable position to sit. I'm going to take a couple nice deep breaths in right here. So big breath in and out and in. And you are all done.